Let's make some chocolate overload brownies because these are a true chocolate overload. To start, you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. You want an 8x8 or a 9x9 inch pan lined with parchment and sprayed with cooking spray. I use coconut oil spray because it stays put and don't run down. Next, we have 1 3/4 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips and 10 tablespoons, which is a stick and a fourth of unsalted butter. Now we are going to pop this in the microwave. Microwave it in 20-second intervals, stirring between each until it's all melted and perfectly smooth. Now it's all smooth and creamy and still warm from the microwave. While it's still warm, you want to add some cocoa powder. This is 1/4 cup of Dutch processed cocoa powder. Now I'm using red Dutch processed. You can use regular Dutch processed or you can use natural, but you're going to get a much richer chocolate flavor with Dutch processed. You want to add it to the warm liquid. That way it can bloom your cocoa powder and make for a better chocolatey flavor. For those of you who may not know what Dutch processed cocoa is, it is a cocoa powder that has been run through a process that has taken out all the acid. For those of you who don't know, natural cocoa powder is extremely acidic. It's been run through an alkalining process where it alkalinizes the cocoa powder, and as a result makes it very rich and very chocolatey, increases the chocolate flavor by a lot. Now, if you can't find Dutch processed cocoa, because like the Hershey's cocoa and the Nestle's cocoa that you find in stores, those are all natural cocoa powder, not Dutch processed. It will say Dutch processed on the container. Now, in the bowl of my KitchenAid mixer, I have 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of packed light brown sugar, and 3 large eggs. Now I'm going to whip this in with a paddle attachment until it's pale in color and thickened and the sugar has dissolved. That will take probably about 5 minutes. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can do this with a hand mixer just as easy. You can also do it by hand if you have the muscles of Gorgeous George. Now, as you can see, it's become nice and thick. See, when I raise it up, it falls in ribbons and it stays for just a few seconds before it evaporates. And if I do a figure 8, you can see the whole 8 by the time I get done. And your sugar is pretty much dissolved. Now I have transferred this to a glass bowl just for filming purposes so that you guys can see it better. Now to this mixture we are going to add 2 tablespoons of oil, a neutral flavored oil of your choice, and one of my favorite ingredients of all times, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, roughly measured of course. Now we are going to mix all that in to this mixture, and it is super thick and fluffy, and it's going to give your brownies the texture that you desire. Taking that extra time, which only took about 5 minutes, it may take a little longer with a hand mixer, depending on how powerful yours is. But taking that extra 5 minutes to do that step is going to make all the difference in your brownies. By this point, your beautiful chocolate mixture has cooled. Now we are going to put it all in there. I'm using a silicone spatula so that I can scrape down every bit of this chocolate and get it all in there, because you want to get as much as you can in there. You don't want to miss any of this. These are chocolate overload brownies, people. You need as much chocolate as possible. Now you want to fold it in. Now as you can see, that is all incorporated and it's nice and chocolatey and rich and delicious. For our dry ingredients, we have 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now you're going to stir all that together. Now we are going to dump in our dry ingredients. And we are going to stir in all of our dry ingredients. Do not overmix or you will end up with tough brownies. So you want to just mix it until you see no more dry pockets, scraping to the bottom as often as you possibly can. Okay, I'm going to give it one last scrape down to the bottom. Make sure there's no dry or undermixed pockets. Now, we're ready to load it up into the pan. Now we are going to take half of our batter and we are going to put half of our batter into the pan. You'll see why in a minute, why we're just doing half right now. Now we are going to smooth that half down. We are going to top this half with 3/4 of a cup of white chocolate chips. You can do more if you want to, but to me, 3/4 of a cup is the perfect amount. This is what helps it make it chocolate overload. If you want less, you can also do less. But I think that is the perfect amount right in there. Now you want to spread them out to every area. And now we are going to top those chocolate chips with the remaining half of our batter. You want to just kind of dollop it on there. Okay, now we're going to spread all this out to the corners. You want to try not to bring up any of your white chocolate chips. And if you do, push them back down in and cover them over well with this beautiful, beautiful fudgy batter, because that Dutch processed cocoa is going to make them way more fudgy. Now you can, if you can't find Dutch processed cocoa in the store, you can find it on Amazon or online. I'll leave a link in the description below to some Dutch processed cocos. The one I am using, the red Dutch process, is by Guittard. If you guys have been with me long, you guys know I love anything Guittard. It's a brand out of San Francisco, and it is amazing. You will not find a better brand of chocolate. Now, we have smoothed that all out. And like, if you do like I have done, and you glop a little over here on the side of your parchment paper, take a minute to wipe that off, because it's going to burn. Now, I'm going to pop this in to a 350-degree preheated oven until it's still just a little jiggly in the middle, because it will finish carry over cooking the rest of the way. These beauties are out of the oven and they smell absolutely amazing. In an 8x8 pan with the oven rack set on the middle, it will take 35 to 40 minutes. In a 9x9 pan, they won't be quite as thick, they'll be thinner, and it will take about 5 minutes less. Now they're all puffed up and big now, but they will sink. As they cool, they will sink. Now you can see where I've poked them in the middle with a toothpick. You want the toothpick to come out fudgy, not wet batter, just fudgy. Like thick fudginess on the toothpick. Make sure you don't hit a white chocolate chip though. Now, you want to let these cool in the pan on a wire rack. You are going to love these. These are super fudgy. You can eat them on their own or warm with a nice scoop of vanilla ice cream, which would be to die for. Either way, you are going to love these. So remember, come back next time to Angelakayskitchen, where I take you from gourmet to everyday and everything in between. God bless.
All right, Angela Kay has made these beautiful brownies. Look at that. You got the classic shiny crust, crunchy top there. These smell like chocolate overload, just to be honest with you. And I'm so excited to try these out. So let's just stop talking and try it, shall we? Wow. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, these are worth it. Holy heck. Wow, I'm gonna take another bite. I'm sorry about it. Amazing. Stinking amazing. That right there, probably the best brownie I've ever ate. And that's a very, very high mark. Well, Angela Kay can make some brownies, y'all. I mean, she's made so many different brownies over the course of our marriage that are out of this world. And that one might be the best one of all. It's everything you'd want. And for us, what's really cool is that it's not a large batch. You know, you don't want a ton of them because a small amount will get your chocolate fix. You know, you don't need to eat 3 of them at a time. You eat 3 of those at a time, you might be overloaded, like literally, just quite a bit. So those are amazing. They're perfect. Absolutely perfection. Angela K can really make some brownies, y'all.